Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Knowledge Stone. Today I am going to discuss about top 25 interview question and answers for clinical data management. Friends, I would like to request you all who are watching my video, please like and subscribe my channel. Your support will motivate me to make more videos on job related and career related guidance. So thank you so much to all of you who are supporting me from the beginning, and without wasting any more time, let's begin with our topic for today. Interview question and answers for clinical data management. So what is clinical research? Clinical research is a branch of healthcare science that determines the safety and effectiveness, which is also known as efficacy, of medications, devices, diagnostic products and treatment regimens intended for human use. These may be used for prevention, treatment, diagnosis, or for relieving symptoms of a disease. Clinical research is different from clinical practice. In clinical practice, established treatments are used, while in clinical research, evidence is collected to establish a treatment. So we will go to the next question. What is clinical data management? So clinical data management is the process of handling data from clinical trials. The inherent goal of any clinical data management system is to produce and maintain quality data. Now the next question is, what clinical data management professionals do in CDM process? The main purpose of the CDM professional is to maintain the subject or patient data which is accurate, clean and consistent for reporting to the regulatory bodies. The next question is, what are the phases of clinical trials? There are 4 phases in clinical trial. Phase 1, which is known as human pharmacology trial. Phase 2, known as therapeutic exploratory trial. Phase 3, therapeutic confirmatory trial, and phase 4 known as post-marketing surveillance trial. What is IND or investigational new drug? The agent which is tested in a clinical trial is called investigational new drug or IND. What is ICH GCP? So this question is mainly asked and mostly asked freshers, I must say, who are looking for a job opportunity in clinical research field or in CDM or in pharmacovigilance. So this common question is asked by most of the interviewers. So do remember the definition of the ICH GCP. So ICH stands for International Council on Harmonization and GCP stands for Good Clinical Practice. So guys, whenever you are applying in any organization in clinical research or any healthcare industry, do remember and always try to memorize the terminology. In most of the part of technical round, you may be asked by the interview about various terminology. Let's take an example of GCP. They may ask you, what is GCP? So you by remembering the terminology, you will be able to answer this question that GCP can be good clinical practice. What is CDM? CDM is clinical data management. So let's talk about the definition of the ICH GCP. So good clinical practice is an international ethical and scientific quality standard for designing, conducting, recording and reporting trials that involve the participation of human subjects. Compliance with the standards provides public assurance that the rights, safety and well-being of trial subjects or patients are protected. Now we will move to the next question. What is informed consent? or known as ICF. So informed consent is the process of learning the key facts about a clinical trial before deciding whether or not to participate. It is also a continuing process throughout the study to provide information for participants. So guys, informed consent is one of the most crucial document, and it is signed by the subject who are participating in the clinical trial. The subjects will go through the informed consent, and suppose the subject is illiterate or is not able to understand what is informed consent, so a healthcare professional or the site personnel will inform the subject or patient about all the terms and conditions in the informed consent. So after signing the informed consent, it can be documented as an acceptance copy or authority to the research organization or the site that they can perform diagnostic test on the subjects. So it is the signed copy of agreement is known by the subject or patient is known as the informed consent. Now we will go to the next question. Who sponsors clinical trial? Clinical trials are sponsored or funded by a variety of organizations or individuals such as physicians, medical institutions, foundations, voluntary groups, and pharmaceutical companies. In addition to federal agencies such as the National Institute of Health, the Department of Defense, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. So these are some of the examples of the sponsor who funds or who initiate the clinical trial for a particular drug. Trials can take place in a variety of locations such as hospitals, universities, doctor's office, or community clinics. What is a protocol? A protocol is a study plan on which all clinical trials are based. The plan is carefully designed to safeguard the health of the participants as well as answer specific research questions. A protocol describes what types of people may participate in the trial. The schedule of tests, procedures, medications, and dosages, and the length of the study. Guys, I have made a separate video on protocol, which is known as understanding of protocol. You can go through that video, so you will be able to understand the detail about the protocol. What are the contents of the protocol and how it and what are the different parts, what are the parameters of protocol. All the contents are described in that video in detail, so please go through that video. What is CRF? CRF is also known as case report form. Is a specialized document in clinical research. It should be study protocol driven, robust in content, and have material to collect the study specific data. So CRF is mainly and only used in clinical data management process. So it can be an electronic copy or a paper copy where the patient data are maintained and stored. Can you give some example of case report forms used in clinical data management? This is one of the most important questions that is asked by the interviewers. So here we will discuss about the forms which is used in clinical data management. So some of the ECRF forms are medical history, ECG, labs. Labs may include hematology, chemistry, thyroid, and serology. These are some of the examples of lab forms. Demography, physical examination, adverse events, vital signs. In vital signs form, it may include BP, heart rate, So systolic, diastolic blood pressures are documented in the vitals, etc. are the example of case report form. What is adverse event and what is adverse drug reaction? An unexpected medical problem that happens during treatment with a drug or other therapy. Adverse event may be mild, moderate or severe and may be caused by something other than the drug or therapy being given, also called adverse effect. So adverse event is divided into three parts: mild, moderate or severe. So do remember guys, it is also asked in most of the interview that how can you categorize or how adverse events are categorized. An adverse drug reaction is a response to a medicinal product which is noxious and unintended. Response in this context means that a causal relationship between a medicinal product and an adverse event is at least a responsible possibility. What is placebo? So the placebo refers to a powder, pill or liquid that has no active ingredients. Placebo helps researchers to isolate the study treatment effect. They are a significant part of clinical studies. They give researchers a comparison point for new therapies to prove if they are effective and safe. Now we will move to the next question. What are the stages of CDM? So clinical data management is divided into three stages: study startup, study conduct and study closeout. So friends, I have made another video in detail about clinical data management process. So I would like to request you all to please go through that video. That will help you to understand the process about the clinical data management. Describe your daily routine as a clinical data manager. So people who are experienced and are planning to for an interview or planning to join an organization, this question is also asked for the entry-level associates or the mid-level associates who are planning to switch in other organization, that what kind of roles they perform during their work tenure in clinical data management process. So I start my day. Suppose I am the person who is applying for a new job in a new company or applying for a new role. So I will explain, like, I start my day by processing clinical data such as recipient, verifications, entry and filling of information. I oversee or monitor the work that the data management project staff handle and develop data questions based on validations check. What are the data questions? It can be query that is raised during the data management process by looking into the validation checks or the listings, or errors and omissions that I identified during data entry and resolve the problems. Now we will move to the next question. What do you know about PK/PD? So PK is known as pharmacokinetics and PD is known as pharmacodynamics. The main difference between pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics is the pharmacokinetics is defined as the movement of drugs through the body, whereas pharmacodynamics is defined as the body's biological response to drugs. Let me explain in a simpler manner. PK defines that how the drug responds to the body, and PD defines that how your body responds to the particular drug. So in other words, PK describes a drug's absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion, also known as ADME, and PD describes how biological processes in the body respond to or are impacted by a drug. Now our next question is, what is discrepancy management? So discrepancy management is the process that systematically addresses discrepancies generated within a study or within a clinical trial or clinical data management process. For each discrepancy assigned to a user role, a user must identify the cause, assess the error, and determine the appropriate action. The user can choose to resolve the discrepancy or route it to another user. How do you identify discrepancy? In order to determine whether a discrepancy is unintentional or an undocumented intentional, the information should be clarified with the prescriber. The clarification can be done by sending query to the site personnel in database or by sending an email. What do you mean by subject status report in clinical trial? So subject status report created to identify if subjects has completed, withdrawn, if any death occurred, or the subject is still in the study and it is marked as ongoing. That means the subject is still enrolled and the process is ongoing, or the trial is ongoing for that particular subject. What is SAE reconciliation? This is one of the most important question or one of the most important topic you should remember. It is a crucial part, or we can say the SAE reconciliation is the crucial parameter or process that takes place in the clinical data management process. So SAE reconciliation is reconciling the databases to be sure that the clinical trial adverse events are the same in the two databases. What are those two databases? It is clinical database and other one is safety database. So I have already mentioned this in my previous video on clinical data management process. So AE are the same in the two databases is usually done periodically during the clinical trial rather than waiting till the end of the trial. This corrects errors in near real time and avoids late expedited reports to health authorities. What is source document? A source document is a document in which data collected for a clinical trial is first recorded. This data is usually later entered in the case report form or CRF. In which database clinical data management activities are performed? So guys, please remember that what are the databases where the clinical data, the data are maintained or subject data are maintained. So first one is Medidata Rave, Inform, Oracle Clinical and ClinTrial. What is freezing of data? A database freeze involves revoking the right of the privileged user so that no more changes can be made to the database. No patients can be added, deleted or modified. What is database lock? When the last subject's visit is completed, all the data cleaning activities are performed and it is and all the stakeholder comes to a point that the data is clean for that subject or for that study. All the data are clean, so the user access is revoked for all users and database is locked, so no user can make any changes in database. So guys, there is a slight difference between database lock and freeze. So first, the freeze activity or soft lock is performed. In soft lock, data managers or the CDM professional can work on the data or can edit the data, but site personnel are not authorized to work on the data or make any changes. Whereas in hard lock or in the database lock, the access is revoked for all the users or all the study personals, so they will not be able to log into that particular study to perform any activity. So do remember this difference. What is coding dictionaries are used in CDM? So what are all coding dictionaries are used in during medical coding? So the first one is MEDRA. It is used for coding of adverse events and medical history events. Using this dictionary is required. Whereas WHO drug dictionary or WHO DD works in a similar way to MEDRA but is used to code medications. So that was all the questions, 25 questions from my end related to the CDM. These are the common questions which are asked by the interviewer during technical rounds, and even when you are performing any assessment or screening test in various organizations. These questions may also come as a part of the test. So I guess I have covered all the topics or main topics that needs to be discussed in the what are the questions that can come during for the freshers as well as for the entry level or mid-level associates who are planning to change their job in the data management or clinical data management domain. So thank you so much guys, thank you so much friends, and if you like this, if you think that this video is useful for you, please do subscribe my channel and hit the like button. Thank you so much.